And now, the show the pros watch, Inside the NFL, with your hosts, Len Dawson, Nick Bonaconti, and Chris Collinsworth.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's show. In our effort to try to find ways to improve the National Football League, we have come up with something, the trading deadline. Every professional league has a trading deadline, but in the NFL, it happens before half of the season is over. We say extend that trading deadline so it'll give teams in a quest for a playoff spot an opportunity to do it.
Well, one team that would definitely help Lenny are the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's a team that's only one game behind the New York Giants, but realistically, without Randall Cunningham at quarterback and only Bubby Brister and Ken O'Brien available, they really don't have a chance. They cannot trade for a starter, and because they have not been able to do that, they've lost 2 in a row, and their hopes are slipping away week to week.
Well, it could be argued that the Eagles had a chance to make a deal after the injury to Cunningham because he was hurt before the trading deadline, but realistically, no other team was in a position to make a deal because they were all still in the playoff hunt. Now, after 9 or 10 weeks of the season, maybe you get a Jim Everett or a Warren Moon available if the Oilers or the Rams are out of it, but not after 5 or 6 weeks.
Well, you know, the NFL has really been short-sighted on this issue, Chris. Look at the Dolphins. Dan Marino is out for the season. The only one available at a quarterback is Scott Mitchell. Now, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm saying the quickest way I'm going to win that division is to get Mitchell out of the lineup. Why? Because Shula, number one, is not going to get a quality player off the waiver wires. He cannot trade for her starter, and right away, his season's going to be history.
Well, you're talking about the Dolphins. They are a team in contention. How about the teams that are out of it, like the Washington Redskins? They are going nowhere. 1-5. They have to rebuild. They do have some high-priced veterans I'm sure they would like to get rid of, and teams would love to have these people because of their experience when they're fighting for an opportunity to win a Super Bowl championship. On the other hand, the Redskins, they could get some draft choices. What better way to build your team than through the draft?
And next season, it's going to be even more important to move that trading deadline back because you're not going to have all the high-priced players in the backup positions. I just think that you're going to see teams next season in a position where they're going to want to make some moves late in the year and just not able to do so.
I think this is good food for thought for the National Football League because our idea might improve competition in the AFC East where the power shift seems overdue but doesn't appear imminent. Not after the Dolphins dispatched the Colts last week and the Bills bullied the Jets.
With their AFC East rival Buffalo Bills in town, last Sunday marked a perfect opportunity for the hard-luck Jets to jump back into the division race.
Let's make the fans happy this week, baby. Let's make them happy. Rule New York, rule New York.
The Jets hadn't lost their spirit despite losing leads of 21 and 17 points in their last 2 games.
Anyway, well, we got a great day. You guys are looking good, too. You had some heartbreakers. Oh, heartbreakers, yeah. I tell you, you move the ball, it's almost awesome the way I'm seeing it.
We have our moments, and then we have our moments. You know how that goes. Hey, good luck to you. Have a good day. Good luck to you.
The game's opening drive was definitely one of those better moments for Bruce Kozlitz's Jets as they got the red carpet treatment over the length of the field. The Jets held the ball nearly 8 minutes before finding themselves at the Buffalo 1-yard line.
Cut it up. Okay, now we're gonna go regular 28 boss this time.
Right, fullback.
Okay. Got to get that corner. Yeah. All right. And Brad will get it in.
When are you gonna send me Jumbo out there?
In a minute.
Okay.
You go ahead and go back out there, and I'll get him ready.
All right.
As planned, it was Brad Baxter who completed the 16-play, 80-yard drive.
Jets trying to get on the board in motion. It's Mitchell, handoff to Brad Baxter, fighting for the end zone, and he is in there. Touchdown, Jets!
A very impressive drive by the Jets.
We need about 5 more of those, guys. 5 more 8-minute drives, and the game's over, okay? I'm going to get greedy.
Once again, the Jets had built an early lead.
Oh, feel all right. Feel pretty good.
What should have made Kozlitz feel even better was the fact that Buffalo's normally well-oiled offense was allowing its own scoring opportunities to slip away all day. The Bills managed just 2 field goals in the first half, but a Buffalo defense that leads the league in takeaways soon took control of the game.
Back is Esiason, looks down the middle, throws, it's caught by Burkett at the 30, and he fumbles the ball. It's loose, it's bouncing inside the 10, inside the 5, and recovered at the 3-yard line by Buffalo.
What happened?
What was happening was another Jets collapse, and with New York clinging to a 7-6 lead, disaster officially struck in the third quarter.
The 39 of the Bills, the Jets with the ball, and Boomer wants to throw, and it is intercepted there. Picked off by Talley. He's down the sidelines to the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, and in for the touchdown. Darryl Talley.
Where was the pressure?
Bruce Smith. Smith went by Criswell, got into Esiason's face. He had to throw it early. Talley playing great defense on the receiver, cut in front of him, and just made the play.
Well, Darryl Talley goes 61 yards with his second interception of the season.
You guys can't be tired and we're dead. You get your ass off on the bench and let's go to work.
Once the Jets lost the lead, they lost their grip on any comeback hopes.
Back to throw goes Esiason, and he pops it into the air, and Bruce Smith got it.
No! No!
Yes, he got it. Bruce Smith made the interception. Do you believe it?
That was an incredible athletic play by Bruce Smith.
Smith's interception sealed another Jets defeat.
Let him get away from us, man. Well, we don't deserve it. You're right.
The Jets' failure to hold a lead has been the hallmark of their season, while a rematch of Super Bowl 26 against the Redskins this Monday night may give the Bills a chance to open up the AFC East, where the Dolphins have proved that every team has an Achilles heel. But while an injury to Dan Marino could have cast a pall on the Dolphins' season, a couple of rookies have stepped in and stepped up.
And the left-footed Pro Bowler gets the kick away. Not a deep one. Running under it at the 29 and making the catch is McDuffie. He hurdles a man to the 40. He's to the 50. He's going to go. He's down the near sideline. O.J. McDuffie goes 71 yards.
Rookie O.J. McDuffie started the Dolphins' scoring frenzy with the team's first punt return for a touchdown in 4 years. But he wasn't the only rookie running wild.
Direct snap to Mitchell. Steps up, throws deep over the middle. He's got Kirby. 15, 10, 5, touchdown. He ran a post right down the middle. There wasn't anybody within 5 yards. And the Dolphins are making a rout out of it.
Ted Marchibroda watched with dismay as his defense simply disintegrated. And even though Terry Kirby's second score put the game away, it couldn't stop the Colts from throwing the ball away.
Just short of the 50-yard line. Again, Jeff takes the snap from center. And he throws it right into the hands of the safety. It's Oliver. He's going to go all the way. He's at the 15, running to the near side, looking at milk it. He's going to come all the way to the near side and score.
Louis Oliver did milk it, and despite the conspicuous lack of human kindness, Don Shula can nevertheless tie one of the most coveted coaching records with a win this week against the Chiefs. Coming up in our cover story, Don Shula about to tie a Legends record and highlights of Minnesota's Monday night mugging.
Don Shula, he needs just one victory to tie George Halas for most career victories. More on that just ahead. But first, let's talk about his chances this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Nick, I want to talk about their defense. Your defense when you played, no-name defense. Not too much emotion, just went out and got the job done. How would you describe this year's Dolphins defense?
Unlike any Dolphin defense I've ever seen. Matter of fact, you wouldn't even think it's a Don Shula coach team. Why? Because it's led by a gang leader by the name of Brian Cox. This guy has an emotional attitude as I'm not going to back down to anyone. This past week, Lenny had a couple of his teammates join that gang, Jeff Cross and Marco Coleman. They have taken on that same attitude, and that's why the Dolphins are 5-1.
Well, the Chiefs have some emotional players as well, and Neil Smith and Derek Thomas, but I think their emotion may actually work against them in this game. What I've seen on some teams like the Kansas City Chiefs or New Orleans Saints that really like to get upfield and rush the passer is that they create voids in the off-tackle lanes. I think the difference in this game is going to be the running of Mark Higgs and Terry Kirby through the off-tackle hole.
Very good theory. Making it work is a different story because the Chiefs are second in the NFL in stopping the run. They have allowed 64 yards per ball game. You know what their game plan is? Stop the run, force Scott Mitchell to win the football game. Now what do you think?
Well, I haven't changed my mind. I still like the Miami Dolphins. That is, unless the referees continue to let Joe Montana wear a skirt on the field.
Ooh.
In the last game against the Chargers, anytime the Chargers defensive lineman just laid a finger on Joe Montana, boom, there was a flag immediately. That won't happen this week, and Miami's going to win the game.
He's still mad about Joe Montana's last performance at Joe Robbie Stadium.
Correct.
Super Bowl 23,
right.
You're on the sidelines watching Joe engineer the winning touchdown, and he's got the Super Bowl ring, and you don't. Hey, he could wear a skirt out there because the offensive or defensive line of Miami is all banged up. Jeff Cross is the only healthy one. Kansas City will win in a close game.
One thing we know for sure, Lenny, if the game comes down to overtime or a late game field goal, Miami is going to win. We did it in 71. We did it in 91, and we're going to do it on Sunday.
We?
Oh,
we. If he's playing, then Kansas City is going to win big. But I'll say this, Don Shula deserves the record. I think he is the best coach in the history of the National Football League. Well, how has he done it? With intelligence and some might say tough love. Brian Burwell paid a visit to the Don in Miami.
Don's the consummate competitor.
Shula is a guy who, as he said, hey, I don't get ulcers, I give them.
He really is a very disciplined coach.
He once told me that he hadn't made a mistake since 1936. He really believes that.
In his 31 years as a head coach, Don Shula has worked through 8 U.S. presidents and coached 12 Hall of Fame players. And now, with a victory on Sunday against the Chiefs, Shula can tie George Halas for the NFL's all-time victory mark. But here in Miami, his place in history has already been set, where that notorious lantern jaw has become a symbol of one of South Florida's greatest natural resources.
I believe in what I do. I demand discipline. I've got the courage of my convictions. You know, I learned from the master, Paul Brown.
It was as a player for Paul Brown in Cleveland where young Shula discovered the important foundation for an entire coaching career.
My coaching philosophy is that it's my responsibility to get the most out of the talent that I have to work with.
Don does this very well. It's another area. He'll put the best foot forward. You emphasize your players' strengths.
No matter what the talent, Shula adapted and won. John Unitas and the pass-happy Colts. Then on to Miami with the power and speed running attack of Zonka, Kick, and Morris. And when Dan Marino arrived, Shula shifted effortlessly back to the passing game.
If you coach as long as Don has, in the National Football League, you have to have the ability to change with the times.
Unitas and Greasy and Marino are all very, very different. And if I were to try to jam a system down their throat, then you're not maximizing their talent.
He doesn't adapt the players to his offense or his defense. He adapts the strategy to the players.
With Marino lost for the season and the Dolphins in a tight divisional race, Shula is treading on familiar ground.
I have had success with quarterbacks coming in for an injured quarterback. The Tom Matte story.
Shula took the Colts to the playoffs with running back Tom Matte filling in for Unitas. And subbing for the injured Bob Greasy, it was Earl Morrall who led the Dolphins through most of their undefeated season.
Now it's Scott Mitchell that's going to be given the opportunity. But the big thing that you have to do is show confidence in the player that's going to bat for you. And that's what I've always done, whether it was Tom Matte, with the plays on the wristband, or whether now Scott Mitchell.
You hear the same words all the time used to describe Shula: detailed, consistent, ultra-prepared. But this is the ultimate one: intense.
I just don't keep anything inside of me. What you see is what you get. It comes out. And sometimes I'm not very proud of what comes out, but it doesn't stay inside.
When I look at Don Shula, he was much more than intense. I mean, I saw him screaming at our own guys, screaming at the referees in the same light.
There isn't any question that his intensity and his focus is there all the time.
I've shown a short fuse, a bad temper, sometimes to a fault.
I saw him walk to the 15-yard line trying to tell this referee, he says, hey, this is my life.
And part of that life today is a new wife. Shula, widowed in 1991, caught everyone off guard when he remarried during the Dolphins' bye 2 weeks ago.
I didn't want to be alone the rest of my life, and I've been very, very fortunate in meeting a wonderful girl like Mary Ann.
When it all began, the 33-year-old Shula's only claim to fame was youngest head coach in history. But today, sitting atop the NFL's seniority list, he's proven to be something everlasting, the best there ever was.
The Packers' Sterling Sharpe already owns the NFL's single-season record for pass receptions in the season, 108 last year. And last week, Sharpe came within one of tying the league record for touchdown receptions in a game. Now, even though we try to keep sharp objects away from Chris, Sterling Sharpe is with him now.
Sterling, forget about last week's 10 catches and 4 touchdowns and all that. Tell me about playing quarterback, and why didn't you check off and throw a bomb?
Well, it wasn't in the offense to check off. I wanted to, but they didn't give us the coverage where I could go to the 2-receiver side, and, you know, they did a good job of one of their guys slipped up and made a tackle, or else Robert probably would have been gone.
I was severely disappointed, but linebacker Tony Bennett just signed a contract yesterday, ending a long holdout. Did his holdout create some of the same kinds of distractions that Dallas faced without Emmitt Smith?
I don't think so, because I think we got so far into the season until where, you know, he wasn't here and we missed him, but we went on and tried to get our jobs done without thinking about that Tony was having problems with his holdout. I don't think it distracted us probably as much as Emmitt did Dallas, because our team, you know, we go out and we try and play, and Tony was a big part of our defense, but I think with Reggie coming and taking some of the pressure off of his position, I think we missed him, but we tried not to let it get to us, and it didn't show.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't find it a coincidence that you had a big game when teammate Darrell Thompson had a 100-yard rushing day. How much does Green Bay's lack of a running game hurt you and the Packers' offense?
I don't know, because last year, the last part of the season, Vince Workman got hurt, our running back, and I still was able to catch 7 or 8 balls. I think that we just, you know, a lot of the passes I caught Sunday were checkoffs by Brett, and I think their defense, they didn't play with the same intensity that they had shown on film, and I think we were able to take advantage of that. I think Darrell's running game helped out a whole lot as far as ball control and us controlling the time of possession, but I don't think that really it changed our offense that much.
Well, speaking of Brett, one of the big stories earlier this year out of Green Bay was that Brett Favre couldn't handle the blitz. Has that changed any? Are you guys doing a better job with that?
I think he can handle the blitz. We got blitzed last year, and it didn't affect us. I think the thing was he came in and maybe had a lot on his mind, maybe, you know, thinking that he had to carry the team instead of just dropping back, throwing it, and handing it off and letting us help him. But Brett's done a good job. I don't think him handling the blitz was a direct result of just him personally. I don't think we did a good job of getting open or probably protecting him. So it was probably more a group thing than it was just him, because we're doing the same things we were doing at the beginning of the season. We're handling the blitz now, and you know, I think the thing is now he feels a lot more comfortable. He's more relaxed now. There's no, you know, he doesn't feel the pressure I think that he probably felt at the beginning of the season.
Okay, you're doing a good job protecting your quarterback. That's a good idea. But this week, you guys have Chicago, not Tampa Bay, and even though the Bears have a good secondary, their cornerback Tony Blaylock is out. Can you take advantage of that?
I don't think so. I think we're going to play right, and they're going to play right and left, and we're going to move our receivers around and do the same things. And I think they're going to go out defensively and do the same things. I think their front four is going to really try and put pressure on our quarterback so they don't have to blitz and so they can stay out of situations to where they have to man up on us. I think they're not going to change their whole defense just because I caught 10 balls last week. I think they're going to come out and do the same things they've done in the past, the same things that have helped them be successful, and they're just going to let, you know, whatever happens, happen.
All right, Sterling, thanks for being with us. But if you get another chance, throw a bomb, will you?
I'm going to.
Lenny, back to you.
Chris, thank you very much. What a player, Sterling Sharpe. 19 touchdowns in the last 22 games. How would you go about preventing him from making any more?
Well, Lenny, I wouldn't let Sterling Sharpe beat me all by himself. And the reason I say that is Mark Clayton has not lived up to the expectations of the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers don't have a great running game, so that would allow me to put 2 guys on Sterling Sharpe wherever he went. If Sterling Sharpe was going to get the football in his hands, he was going to have to earn it.
Well, I'll tell you, that would be taking a chance, because there's a guy by the name of Jackie Harris who caught 55 balls last year as a tight end. He'd be roaming around in the middle area, so it's going to be a very difficult situation. But can the Packers continue to creep upward in the NFC Central? Well, if Sterling Sharpe remains scintillating, as he was last week against the Bucs, and the defense continues to roar, perhaps the Pack will come all the way back.
We're going to go 13-3.
Routine and
starts today by beating the Bucks, destroying the Bucks.
You got something you want to say to the coach? No. Please win one for us, Sam.
It's a nice, easy-paced warm-up. We don't have to go running around and screaming around to know we're ready to play. What we need to do is make sure we save ourselves for the ball game, but are ready to play, loosened up, ready to play. Nice, smart warm-up. Okay, let's go get it. Go.
Tantalizing the Bucks with exotic formations, the Green Bay Packers trampled them with the brutal basics of professional football, blocking and tackling. The Packer offensive line rudely shoved Buccaneer defenders aside, which allowed clear passing lanes for Brett Favre. Then a bulldozer named Darrell Thompson plowed through the Bucks for over 100 yards. In this impressive offensive barrage, the loudest burst came from Sterling Sharp.
Quickly to the outside to Sterling Sharp. He's going to go. What a gone. Touchdown. What a move he put on Roger Jones. He made one little move. Jones shot by him and turned.
Gotta watch the screen. Watch the screen.
Led by number 95, Bryce Poff, who had 2 sacks, the Packer defense dominated one of the feeblest offenses in the NFL. The Packers swept to a commanding 30-0 lead when 2 touchdowns by the Bucks' Horace Copeland set off fireworks both on the field and the sideline.
Some seed up the middle, throws it downfield, the deep post intended for Copeland to the 10, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown Tampa Bay. Oh, backflip by Horace Copeland, the cannons roar, and Copeland has 2.
This football team has 65 yards of offense 2 series ago. All right? That's not a better football team right now. It's not a better football team. And we talked about the beginning of the year fighting for inches, and we're giving them away right now. Now let's have some pride. I don't give a heck what kind of score is. Let's not let these, come on, shoot the ball on us now and turn this game, make it look like it's defense. We're a better defense than that. Now I know you're tired, man. Back there, we got to suck it up. We got all evening, we got all week to recover. Well, let's sell out and pull together. This is embarrassing. To play this damn good and then give it back to them and make it look like they did something today. Dave, it's a drop all day until we give it to them. Now let's settle down and play like we can play. So we got to have pride in who we are. We can't let them do that. Come on, we got to get around playing like we do. Let's go.
Sterling Sharp needed no such motivation to produce the greatest day of his career.
And he's going to go again, folks. Touchdown, Sterling Sharp. 4 touchdown catches by Sterling Sharp.
The 37-14 victory evened the Packers' record at 3-3 and set up an important meeting this week with their arch rivals, the Chicago Bears. In the Windy City, they love Monday nights, but it's hard to figure why, because the Bears have lost more games on Monday night than any other franchise. And last week, the beating went on.
Back for the Vikings on a 2nd and 10 at the Bear 26-yard line. Handoff, Robert Smith, knifes up the middle, turns the corner at the 20, at the 15, 10, 5.
Robert Smith rumbled through the Bears as if he were back in the Big Ten, while the Vikings defense delivered the big hits. The Vikes drilled Jim Harbaugh for 8 sacks, but it was an interception which hurt most.
At the Bear 15, back to throw Harbaugh. Quick throw, picked off, intercepted. Vikes have a return. And in goes Audrey McMillan for the touchdown. And
the Bears' loss evens their record at 3-3 heading into this week's showdown with the Pack.
Jim Harbaugh's tough Monday night against Minnesota got tougher because the league awarded the Vikings not 8, but 9 quarterback sacks. And it's not going to get any easier, Nick, because this week Chicago travels to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Packers this week signed their top sacker over the last 2 years, Tony Bennett.
Well, that's not even the strength of the Green Bay defense, Lundy. Their run defense is really tough. If Chicago's going to win that game, then Neil Anderson and Tim Worley have to do something that no other running back in the National Football League has been able to do against that Green Bay defense. That's run for more than 71 yards in a game. The offensive line of the Chicago Bears has performed absolutely dismally. Jim Harbaugh has to be thinking about this, and when he sees Tony Bennett's heart back in that lineup, he's going to be singing that same tune that he sang last week. Teammates, please pick me up off the ground.
He's very musical,
He
isn't he?
is indeed, is he not? But I think the key to this football game is going to be the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. Due to the injury to starting cornerback Anthony Blaylock of the Chicago Bears, if Brett Favre gets time, Sterling Sharp could come up with another big day. But remember that the Chicago Bears had the second best pass rush in the National Football League, led by Richard Dent. Could be the difference in this one.
Yeah, but Green Bay's only given up 7 sacks in their 6 ball games. The offensive line should handle it. My say is, where is the offense for the Chicago Bears? They don't have any. The running game, for example, Neil Anderson, their top runner. You take away the 31-yard run against Minnesota in the last 2 ball games, he's averaging just a teeny bit over 1 yard per attempt. Now, this is a tough game to call. Who do you think is going to win?
It really is. I like the Chicago Bears and their defense, and the fact that they've won 7 of the last 8 games at Lambeau Field. I think they do it again this week. I'll take Chicago.
Chicago's defense a better score because I don't think the offense is going to. You know, when they fall off a horse, they say you should get right back up in the saddle. After watching Harbaugh sacked 9 times last Monday, it looked like he spit the bit. I like Green Bay.
You know, the Chicago defense has to be wondering, when is that offense going to stop making all those dumb mistakes and give our defense a chance to win the game? Well, it's not going to happen this week. I like Green Bay in a bear hug.
Well, talking about hugging, you say. Last week in Cleveland, 2 Eric Metcalf returns generated a whole lot of hugging. But as they were saying, oh my, in the dog pound in Houston and Seattle, the matchups were really just ho-hum, no matter how they were dressed up.
Crisp precision, picture-perfect timing, flawless execution, all prime ingredients of a winning team, but not necessarily properties of either the Patriots or Seahawks. The NFL's 2 worst teams a year ago have made modest progress this season, and at times looked downright competitive. Rookie quarterback Rick Myers struggled for most of the day, but with 28 seconds left in the game, he beat the Patriots on a mismatch.
The 1-yard line with 28 seconds to play. Myers short drive, flares it out. Touchdown! Brian Blade! They had Todd Collins, a linebacker, trying to cover Brian Blade to the sideline. Big mismatch there, and Blades just ran a quick out. There's a linebacker out there trying to cover it.
The surprising Seahawks, who meet the Broncos this Sunday, have won twice as many games as they did all of last year. And as one rookie got up off the canvas in Seattle, a 15-year veteran quarterback in Houston came back off the bench to revive the disappointing Oilers.
Play clock is at 5 as Slaughter goes in motion left. Moon, short roll right, throwing right, Wellman at the 5, looking for the corner, touchdown!
While Warren Moon remained up and about, the Bengals' Jay Schrader was mostly down and out. In his first start of the year, Schrader could not lead the winless Bengals out of the bog that is the AFC Central Division cellar. While there were no great expectations for the winless Bengals, something big was expected from the Oilers.
Now he's forced back to his left, throwing to his left, he's got it, touchdown!
Only time will tell if Houston can regain its preseason promise or merely join the rush of also-rans who serve to make parity in the NFL an unpleasant reality. Both teams have a week off before trying once again to get their seasons back on track. There's nothing like a day in the dog pound, where last Sunday it was hats off to the hottest rivalry in pro football. The torrid Turnpike Series between division leaders Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Nice day for a brawl, isn't it? See if we can heat it up. Ready for a big game today? I am. It's going to be a war today. A serious, serious war. The guy that throws the first punch and the last one's going to win this one this week.
Well, this is a different Steeler team. Got a lot to prove today. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Undoubtedly, the player with the most to prove was Vinny Testaverde, who had the chance to show he can shine in an important game.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. 47 guys right here have enough energy to beat anybody in the National Football League. For 60 minutes, let's go after them. Yeah! First and last time.
That Steeler energy was unleashed on the game's first series. But on back-to-back series in the second quarter, Cleveland uncapped some energy of its own in the form of lightning-like speed that resulted in a pair of touchdowns.
Dodges one tackler, throws. Jackson has it at the 45, at the 50, into Steelers territory at the 40, 35, 30, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown, Browns!
I have never seen Michael Jackson run that fast. He ran away from the Steelers.
Michael Jackson ran away from the Steelers. Eric Metcalf ran through them.
Metcalf has it back at the 10. Ahead to the 15, outside of the 20, to the 25, 30, 35, he needs a block at the 40, 45, 50, Metcalf at the 40, 25, 20, he's all the way for a touchdown!
He high-stepped that one all the way. Mike Caldwell with a big block to spring Metcalf. They got another too, that's wide open. Let's go, D! Let me kill for D!
With a 2-touchdown lead, it was up to Cleveland's defense to put the Russian crush on Pittsburgh.
It's our house, man. Here's what we got to do, tackles. We got to come flat as hell. All right? Flat as hell. All right?
Midway into the second quarter, Barry Foster and the Steeler offense had been held in check. Now was the time for them to be heard.
Let's go after it. I mean, come down like a freight train.
Hey, I may have to change up the snap count because you keep hearing on one, Michael B. Perry's getting a feel for that. I may go on set. If I go on 2, I'll let all you guys know. But it's going to be set 1, 2. I'll change it up. But stay with me.
You're all right, everybody.
The dog defense braced for a Steeler comeback. The man who led the charge was Neil O'Donnell, who had the greatest game of his short career with 355 yards through the air.
Steelers knocking on the door. You ain't going nowhere, Ray Foster! Hand off to Foster out of trap up the middle. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. Right up the gut goes Barry Foster, and right back into the game go the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Defense, good job!
You got to keep coming with those draws. Okay.
2 Foster touchdowns and a field goal put Pittsburgh on top. Now it was Testaverde's turn in a game that swung back and forth all day long.
Hand off, Testaverde throws, end zone, touchdown, Rod Blessley! How's that for a surprise? And Pittsburgh never saw him in the shadow of the goalpost.
They saw him. They just didn't think they'd throw it to him. His second career touchdown. I just came open. Yeah, I think everybody was. This is a good job.
Second down.
You were open too?
Late in the game, a play occurred that could well define the season for the Cleveland Browns.
Testaverde is shaken up. That might be the worst news of the night because Kosar has been warming up.
Kosar warmed up, Kosar went down, and it appeared the Browns were going down to a painful defeat. With just 2 points separating these bitter rivals for the uncontested lead in their division race, Cleveland forced a punt that would give the Browns one last chance at victory in this thrilling drama.
Gets the kick away, driving Metcalf all the way back to the 25, ahead to the 30, outside to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, in the Steelers territory, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, touchdown Browns! Unbelievable! Eric Metcalf has brought this stadium to its feet. It's Pandemonium Palace. You'll never see a better return than that.
The whole team is in the end zone. Hey, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Number 1, baby. First place.
Amidst the euphoria, Bill Belichick received some very bad news about Vinny Testaverde.
Scoring guy, depends how big of a separation. It could be 6 weeks, could be 8 weeks.
Ironically, while others celebrated, Belichick was aware his team's season was in jeopardy. But any team that has Eric Metcalf can't be counted out.
It's a big thrill. I feel good about it. I get to be the Joe Carter of this game, and that was the home run for our team, and it makes me excited, and as well as our team, and now it puts us on top.
Nick Bonaconte said the Steelers was going to take us out. I believe we're the one that's 5-2 and #1 on top of the conference. So Nick, that one's for you. Thank you.
Next week, Inside the NFL goes on the road again to Cleveland. So, Eric Turner, you'll be able to speak to Nick directly. As we check the news wire, Oilers offensive lineman David Williams was back in uniform this past week after missing the team's October 17th game to be present for the birth of his first child. And as Williams waited to be introduced before the home fans, they had some fun at his expense. The Oilers did deliver for these expectant fans, and as Al Davis would say, just win, baby. And on Tuesday, the NFL, like the Williams family, expanded by 1 to Charlotte. Joining Commissioner Paul Tagliabue for the announcement was managing general partner Jerry Richardson, the ex-Baltimore Colt turned food magnate who controls the Denny's chain. Richardson sewed off the team's logo. They'll be called the Carolina Panthers. And back in Charlotte, the news was greeted with fireworks downtown. With no NFL team between Washington and Atlanta, league owners viewed the city of 1.2 million as promising new territory. And this T-shirt factory saw the promise of profits. Now with more news and some views, Chris is with Gary Myers.
All right, Lenny, thank you very much. Gary, the hot topic this past week was expansion, but we got shortchanged. They promised us 2 teams. We ended up with 1. What happened with St. Louis? I thought they were a lock.
Well, Chris, what really happened is that Stan Kroenke, the majority owner, didn't emerge until Monday. He made a 15-minute presentation to the owners on Tuesday. I just don't think the owners were comfortable giving a franchise to somebody they just met. A lot of people did, however, come away from Chicago thinking that the league was just buying some time for St. Louis to get things in order. The league denies that and say the race is still wide open.
All right, well, whoever the 2 teams are going to be, we have to talk about realignment and how it's going to be affected in the National Football League.
That's right, and there is a preliminary plan floating around the league. It's, realignment's not going to happen. The plan won't be finalized for at least a year. But right now, as you can see, here is the current alignment. And now, as you can see, a plan that's going around the league is putting Charlotte in the NFC Central, moving Phoenix out to the NFC West where they belong, and shifting Tampa over to the NFC East.
So don't tell me now, New Orleans and Atlanta are still going to be in the NFC West.
Well, that's still a very good possibility, and the problem here is, who do you move out to the NFC West? Geographically, it makes sense to move Dallas out there. But 3 of the best things the league has to offer is Dallas, Philadelphia, Dallas, Washington, and Dallas Giants, and the league does not want to break up those rivalries.
That's stupid. Talk about the AFC and how realignment will affect that.
Okay, and you can see here is the current alignment as the league stands right now. Now, if St. Louis or Memphis gets a second expansion team, they can fit neatly into the AFC Central. However, if Baltimore or Jacksonville gets a second team, they might go into the AFC East, and you move Indianapolis into the AFC Central. You got that?
Absolutely not. I don't have any idea what you're just talking about. But I do understand that if Barry Sanders leaves Detroit, people are going to lose their minds up there. Been hearing some rumors. Anything to it?
They shouldn't worry about that in Detroit. First of all, the Lions say they've made Sanders an offer that would make him the highest paid running back in the league, 4 years, $14 million, which is $100,000 a year more than the Cowboys are paying Emmitt Smith. But even if Sanders' option year should be declared invalid, there's no question the Lions would use their last transition move and put it on Sanders next year, which means they have the right to match any offer he would receive as an unrestricted free agent, which means Sanders stays in Detroit.
All right, after the show, I want you to explain that realignment one more time. I'm a little slow sometimes, you know what I mean. Lenny, back to you.
Thank you, men. You know, it wasn't surprising that the Lions beat up the Rams last week or the 49ers plucked the Cardinals. But in New Orleans, the Saints were unexpectedly stung, and the damage was done by a former colleague.
Atlanta's Billy Joe Tolliver was the starter last Sunday and Bobby Hebert his backup. But after Tolliver was knocked out of the game, the former Saints number was called. Despite a sore elbow and a Falcons uniform, Hebert came up with some of his old Superdome magic. Atlanta was on the offensive, but it wasn't witchcraft that gave the Falcons the advantage, just 2 touchdowns.
Back the pass, looks, floats it for Rison in the end zone. He's got it! Touchdown! And a great catch in the left corner, and the Falcons in goal from the 9. Hebert, 3 receivers left, but he looks right, slant to Haynes, got it! Touchdown! Oh, Bobby! What a strike to Haynes, and the Falcons lead 16-3.
For Saints fans, the outcome of this game looked bleak, but a third-quarter score brought hope.
At the 23-yard line with 2 wideouts to the left and 1 to the right, and Derek Brown behind Wade Wilson, who gets the snap, straight back to pass, lobbing for the end zone for Early. It's caught. Touchdown, Saints!
Quinn Early's touchdown, however, was not enough for a comeback. The Saints have dropped 2 straight, cause for concern as they now travel to Phoenix. But the Cardinals' Joe Bugle has a lot more to worry about. Phoenix always seems to be defeated, and last Sunday was no exception, as this team's biggest play came too late in the game to make a difference.
Edwards to the right, Beuerlein to throw again. He's got some time. He runs out of the pocket now. He looks downfield. He winds up. He throws it very, very deep for Anthony Edwards at the 10. He's got it. He scores! And that's Anthony Edwards, the guy that's there.
By the time the Cardinals scored, the 49ers offense had already run away with the game, thanks to the strong-armed Steve Young and the history-making Jerry Rice.
Hogan and Waters split wide to the backfield. Young gets some backside pressure, throws across the middle. Rice should get there. He's tied for number 4 all time with Lenny Moore as he gets the touchdown catch, number 107 in his remarkable headed for the Hall of Fame career. Going to tuck it in. Starts to run, changes his mind. Jerry Rice, another touchdown catch. He takes over number 4 all time by him.
Ricky Waters' 19-yard scamper finished off Phoenix.
5 into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. Ricky Waters gets his touchdown for the day.
The 49ers can relax a bit now that their offense is back on track and appears ready to take on the Rams this Sunday. Last week, Barry Sanders and the Lions were in Los Angeles, and they got off to a roaring start by building a 13-point lead.
Sanders off the right to the 5, breaks a touchdown, Lions. Barry Sanders.
Lions, like linebacker Tracy Scroggins, kept Jim Everett off his feet. After 2 fumbles, an interception, and only 2 complete passes, the fans wanted Everett kept off the field. They got their wish with backup T.J. Rubley.
Quick pop off to the left, intended for and caught by Ernie Jones for the touchdown.
Rubley's 2 fourth-quarter touchdown passes tied the game.
10 quick slants to Jones, 10. Jones at the 5, touchdown! Ernie Jones. It's a tie ball game.
With the clock ticking down, Detroit put together one last drive to stop the game short of overtime.
Herman Moore to the near side, double tight ends to the right. Rodney, short drop right, pumps once, fires wide open, Holman caught at the 1-yard line. 18-yard field goal try by Jason Hanson. Snap, kick, up, good! And the Lions with 4 seconds to go.
Detroit still leads the NFC Central and takes on second place Minnesota this week. Ahead in our Where Are They Now feature, the captain of the Cardiac Cardinals, Jim Hart, and in our diary, Warren Moon, with some baby talk.
Don't miss what Warren Moon has to say later in the show. Right now, let's talk about the NFC Central Division. We already picked one of these games. Now let's take a look at the other one. It's for first place, Detroit traveling to Minnesota, and the Vikings are on the roll against the guys in the black and blue division. They have won their last 10 in a row. Their quarterback, Jim McMahon, his last 20 starts, he has won all 20 of them against teams in the NFC Central Division. That's a tall order for Detroit.
Well, Detroit is the Rodney Dangerfield of the National Football League. They just don't get no respect, but they should, because Detroit's defense has quietly become one of the best in the NFL. They are ranked 6th. And Wayne Fontes, every single year he is coaching an injury-laden team. He is atop the NFC Central Division without the likes of a Swilling, Lomas Brown, Gray, and Blades. No, this team is not very flashy, Lenny, but they are very effective. And guess what? Not only is Barry Sanders getting respect on that team, but there's another Rodney getting respect, and that's Rodney Peete. Detroit is a team that comes off the canvas. They will answer the bell, and they will knock out Minnesota in this game.
Well, the Lions may be one of the best defenses in the National Football League, but the Minnesota Vikings are the very best, and they're getting cocky. I talked to their defensive coordinator, Tony Dungy, this week. He said he heard a complaint on the sideline against the Bears that he had never heard before. The defensive backs were upset at all of the sacks that the defensive linemen were getting because they didn't have a chance to make any interceptions. Tony Dungy has created a monster with this Minnesota defense, and they're going to beat the Lions.
You know, Tony Dungy did something else to really help that defense. He moved John Randall from defensive end to defensive tackle, and along with Henry Thomas, that really solidifies the pass rush up the middle, plus they're stopping the run. That was evident in the Monday night game against the Chicago Bears. What this also does is that Chris Dolman out here getting double-teamed all the time. Now he's getting single-blocked, and he's getting to the quarterback. I like the Minnesota Vikings. Nick, you're the only one out there. You are expecting a whole lot from that run-and-shoot offense. But back in the 70s, a lot was expected of Don Coryell's Cardinals, the offensive trendsetters of the time. And the man who got that high-powered offense pumping was Jim Hart, the subject of this week's Where Are They Now?
In the 1960s, the most famous athlete to attend Southern Illinois University was Walt Frazier, who drove the Salukis to the NIT basketball championship. Their second most famous athlete was Jim Hart, a quarterback then, the university's athletic director today.
It just seems like when I cross a river, somebody throws a big rock on there and lets me keep walking across the stream. So I've been very fortunate. If you look at my life, things have happened that way.
In 1966, Jim Hart joined St. Louis as an undrafted free agent. But it wasn't until head coach Don Coryell arrived that Hart would find his niche. The team became known as the Cardiac Card, and number 17 would rewrite the record books in leading St. Louis to the playoffs in 74 and 75. When Jim retired in 1984 after a 19-year career, all but one with the Cardinals, only Fran Tarkington and Johnny Unitas would have more passing yards.
I played it until I was 40 years old. That's amazing. I was playing a game and getting paid a lot of money to do it. Why would you want to do anything else? And that's why people play it. It's still fun.
Already preparing for life after football, Jim and teammate Dan Dierdorf opened their first restaurant in 1983. Located in the Westport area of St. Louis, Dierdorf and Hart was so successful, they opened a second one at Union Station in 1985.
Westport Plaza is a very going area, and Union Station was very new, and will continue to be a very neat place to visit too. But once you have that location, you better have the quality of food, and we've been able to do that. We're known as a steakhouse, but we serve a heck of a piece of fish too.
While the restaurants continued to prosper, Hart wanted more. In 1988, he became the athletic director at his alma mater, Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. Today, Jim oversees an operating budget of $4 million, a staff of 75, 400 athletes participating in 18 varsity sports, and reports directly to the president.
It is somewhat unique to have the AD reporting directly to the president, and it is new, and it is a trend, and rightly so, because of the importance of athletics in the university setting.
And with that cooperation of the president, Jim's been able to realize his goal of housing the entire athletic department under one roof. As this 5-year project nears completion, Jim can now begin to focus all of his efforts on the development and long-term future of Saluki athletics.
I like my job at the university. Having my blood, sweat, and tears in the courts and fields of this university makes every day more meaningful.
They say in the restaurant business, location is everything. Well, it seems that location and Lady Luck have been the story of Jim Hart's life.
I played against Jim Hart many times. He was a terrific quarterback. Talk about durability. Played till he was 40 and missed very few games. Speaking of missing games, David Williams missed a game for the birth of his first child. You've read about it in the papers, seen it on the news. Now here's more, this time from the team quarterback. In this week's Player Diary, Warren Moon's take on Babygate.
I'm sure you're familiar with my teammate David Williams and his decision to stay at home and be with his wife for the birth of their first child, choosing not to play in our New England game. You know, this incident stirred a lot of nationwide debate, and it got me to thinking where I was and what frame of mind I was in when my 4 children were born. Joshua was born in Canada during the football season, I remember when my wife went into labor, I took her to the hospital only to find out it was going to be a while before he was born. So I decided to go to football practice, as opposed to being in a waiting room full of smoking, nervous fathers, later to come back and be there when he was born. Now, Chelsea was born 2 weeks after we had just won our 5th Grey Cup championship, so I was able to be there when she was born. Now, Blair was born during an off-season of transition. I had just signed with the Oilers, and my wife and I moved to Houston trying to find a new home, new daycare centers, and all the things that go along with a major move. Plus, my wife had 2 false alarms where I had to fly back from training camp in San Angelo twice. Fortunately, Blair waited until camp broke, and I was able to be there when she was born. Now, with Jeffrey, I had a big decision to make. He was due just before we were to leave for Denver for a playoff game. So I sat my wife down and told her if he wasn't there by the time that plane left, I was going to have to leave and be with my team. Fortunately, the Lord works in strange ways, and I was able to be there for all 4 of my children's births. He came the day before we left. You know, family issues are always touchy issues. They are decisions you have to live with all your life. I'm glad my decisions were a little bit easier than the ones David had to make.
While we're on the subject of births, I would like to say that HBO Sports has expanded its family by 1. Andrea Joyce, who does such a great job on our cover story, she and her husband, Harry Smith, are the proud parents of a boy, Grady Thomas Smith, 8 pounds, 13 ounces. She said it's a linebacker type of child.
Oh, no.
All right, let's take a look at what happened last week. You remember Nick Bonacani was 9-1. Where is he this week?
Temporary setback.
Nowhere to be
Temporary
found.
setback.
All right,
man.
for the season, Nick and Gary up
right on
on
top.
top. And who's
They know
down there,
it.
Bob?
They know it.
Come on, Chris. What's the
That's the
deal
key,
here?
consistency.
Yeah,
It's
consistency.
Like the Cincinnati Bengals on the bottom.
All right, earlier in the show, we picked several games. Now it's time to pick the rest of them. First, the ones that we agree on. Dallas will beat Philadelphia. Indianapolis will down New England. Scott Seacles starting for his 3rd straight game. Denver will get by Seattle in the Rocky Mountains. The Falcons, with the NFL's worst defense, will beat Tampa Bay, the league's worst offense. Now, for the rest of these games in more detail, Gary, I'll let you go first. We got the Rams at San Francisco.
Well, Nick and Chris's friend, T.J. Rubley. Remember him, guys?
T.J., my good man, a good friend of mine.
He played well last week. He gets his first start this week in San Francisco. The irony is Jim Everett's career sort of went on the downslide in San Francisco in 1989 in that NFC Championship game. I think Rubley will have a tough time in San Francisco in his first start. The 49ers win this game.
So Everett left his heart in San Francisco.
I guess so.
He left his game in San Francisco.
I think Jerry Rice has a big game. Steve Young, they have to protect him this game. Give him a rest. He doesn't want to get hit. I like the 49ers.
I thought T.J. Rubley looked sharp. I saw a little bit of that game.
He dresses real well.
He looked good. That Ricky Waters is getting the football back in his hands, and they're not going to beat the 49ers.
I'll tell you, the 49ers have owned the Rams, or the Rams, the last 5 ball games they've won. 4 of those 5 by more than 16 points. Oof. It'll be San Francisco. Nicholas, New Orleans is at Phoenix. What's going to happen?
I don't know. The Saints have really been struggling. Man, they cannot stop anybody. And I never thought I would ever say this. They can't stop anybody running the football. And I'll tell you, Wade Wilson, I knew he would find his comeuppance. He's playing at Phoenix. But somehow, some way, Morrow will you get those guys back on track. I like the Saints.
I'm going to take a shot here.
Take a shot
I'll be
at
way
it. Go
down
ahead.
at the bottom
Yes,
down there, so I got to try to take a shot here. But, you know, Ricky Prohl and Steve Berline, they're starting to put together a little passing combination there. I'll take Phoenix. Why not?
I thought I was only going to go on the limb on this one. I like the Cardinals in this game, too. The last 2 games, I think the Saints have been exposed by the Steelers and the Falcons. Wade Wilson, after the great start, no touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the last 2 games. And Eric Swan of the Cardinals, one of the best defensive linemen in the league, emerging this year.
All right, listen to that.
Then why have they only
Swan.
won 2 games? Washington's the only team that they have won. New Orleans has won in Phoenix the last 2 years. They will make it 3 in a row. All right, we got the Jets at the Giants, the Meadowlands. Chris?
Well, the Giants now are averaging about 20 more yards per game rushing than any other team in the National Football League. That big offensive line is going to be the difference. I like the Giants.
This game is for the city championship in New York. You know, really, the way the Jets go, it really depends on Boomer Esiason. The last 2.5 games, only 1 touchdown pass after a really good start, a hot start. The Jets have struggled with 3 straight losses. I think the Giants really emerging as one of the best teams in the league.
Everybody's talking about Rodney Hampton not being in the lineup. You know, Lewis Tillman has done such a great job and running behind that offensive line. Lenny, I think I want to come back and run behind that line myself. I like the Giants.
Are you kidding me? Did I hear what
2 times in this show he wanted to make it come
He's got a new hip. He can hardly walk, and he's talking about running behind everything else. Hey, the Jets got run on by Buffalo. 190 yards or so. What do you think the Giants are going to do to them? I think it's going to be the Giants in this one. San Diego at the Raiders. Who's up, Gary?
I'll take this one. San Diego is one of the most disappointing teams in the league. Only 6 touchdowns so far. The Raiders, the strength of their team, they don't win pretty, but they're winning, and they're winning with defense. I think the Chargers are going to have a real hard time scoring.
Well, San Diego just doesn't throw any touchdowns. Whatever happened to that great offense? Williams, the linebacker's out this game. I think San Diego's defense has really been playing heroically, if you want to call it that, in the last couple ball games, but they won't beat the Raiders in L.A.
I agree. The Raiders have just a great defensive line led by Anthony Smith, who's on a pace now to break Mark Gastineau's record for the most sacks in a season. I think the Raiders win this one pretty easily.
Chargers, 6 touchdowns in 6 games. The Raiders,
doesn't make any sense, huh?
all they got to do is score a few points. The Raiders will win this one. And on Monday night, Nick, Washington at Buffalo.
Well, everybody seems to be coming back. Charles Mann's coming back. Rippon is finally getting healthy.
You were talking about coming back.
Not to play for that team, but the Bills, I agree with you, Lenny. That passing game has been awful, but the running game has really led the way. I love the Bills and their defense.
Steve Tasker, Phil Hansen, both back for the Bills. I like the Bills, too.
Buffalo can't beat the NFC East in the Super Bowl, but so far this year they've beaten Dallas and the Giants, and they're going to beat Washington on Monday night.
Bills lead the giveaway takeaway category plus 13. Bills will win this one. Well, that's our show for this week. Remember, we premiere each Thursday at 11 p.m. If you miss any part of it, you can catch it again Fridays at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 11 a.m. Those times are Eastern and Pacific. Join us next week from Cleveland as we spotlight the first-place Browns. Thanks for joining us this week. See you next week in Cleveland. World Championship Boxing returns to HBO Sports this Friday night. Tommy the Duke Morrison defending his WBO heavyweight title against Michael Bent. And James Toney fighting to keep his IBF super middleweight crown against Tony Thornton. Catch it live Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
How you doing? How about I hug your old man? Buffalo captain. Butts right, all right? Huh? Butts right, all right? Yeah. Put that down.
Well, maybe, that Cobra Arrow deal.
Yeah.
You might want to do that out of hot now. Because now, let me show you. Give me that picture.
You mean your play?
Yeah, let me show
Star
you why.
Star one side?
Yeah, let me show you why.
Tell me.
I can tell you why.
I can visualize real well.
Well, they had 3 guys over there.
Yeah, so they can't have 3 on both sides.
That's why I had to come back the other way. So, I mean, right here. So they got 1, 2, and 3 over here.
Okay.
So if we got now if we got the star over here.
Okay. So it'll be hot, your play.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.